briefly about my recent visit to East Africa. It had not rained for 3 seasons, not a single drop. Cattle, the only source of income for many families, were dying right in front of me. Among the children I met was 15-year-old Elizabeth. She was studying hard and dreamed of being a doctor. But her parents' last remaining cattle had just died in the drought. Elizabeth's dad, Moses, told me the only way he could ensure Elizabeth's survival was through offering her for early marriage. Moses simply could not afford to feed and educate Elizabeth. Moses looked me straight in the eye. He asked me a question I will never forget. He said this: "In my position, what would you do?" World Vision staff intervened, we gave financial support, and Elizabeth is thankfully back at school. This is a story of threatened futures repeated the world over, and we cannot stand by. We know that fulfilling child rights delivers a substantive return on investment for societies. So why are essential services that support children being deprioritised? The only way to get the SDGs back on track is to put children at the very heart of our efforts. That's why we call on all member states and all partners to put children first, to promote the rights of all marginalised children and champion girls' rights, to support children's meaningful participation. This Wednesday evening, World Vision is launching our new global campaign that we call Enough. It's an ambitious call to end child hunger and malnutrition. It's about enough nutritious food, enough funding, enough political will. We say enough. No child will suffer from hunger if we act together now. World Vision is the largest child-focused NGO, but we need your partnership and we welcome your partnership. Together, we must say enough for children like Elizabeth across the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the President of World Vision for his moving statement. And with this, we have finished our interventions and statements, and I would like to finish the first leaders' dialogue in this room, and to sum up saying that thank you so much for these sincere interventions. Thank you for sharing us your commitment, but also your concerns and your challenges regarding the Sustainable Development Goals. And we are all committed for the fulfillment of the for the SDGs. And I would like to highlight that I believe that we all proved with our interventions that education is the only way out of poverty, demographics is key to sustainability, and comprehensive health is a decisive element of our everyday lives. So once again, thank you so much for all the participants of the Leaders Dialogue 1 on scaling up actions on key transitions to accelerate SDG progress, and a very good continuation for you all. So this this part of the summit is now over.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to start the briefing, so I'm just inviting our guests to take their place at the podium. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the press, Excellencies, Honorable Minister, Mayors, Madam Executive Director. Good morning and welcome to this press briefing that we have on the World Cities Day 2023 and the Zero Waste initiatives. The briefing is organized by the government of Turkey and UN Habitat, the UN agency that is responsible for cities and human settlements. And we would like first to start with the briefing and information about the World Cities Day. As you know, in October, we usually use the month of October to promote sustainable urban development. It is a very important topic for us. It starts with World Habitat Day on the 2nd of October. This year, it's going to be celebrated in Baku, in Azerbaijan. And then we finish with the World Cities Day on the 31st of October, 2023, in the municipality of Üsküdar in Istanbul, in Turkey. And it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speakers today. So we have the government of Turkey is represented by His Excellency Mehmet Özhaseki, Minister of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change of Turkey. Then we also have the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Madam Maymuna Mohsharif. And then we will also hear some remarks from the host city, the Mayor of Üsküdar, Municipality of Üsküdar in Istanbul, Hilmi Türkmen. And then we will also hear additional remarks from the President of the Union of Municipalities of Turkey and another mayor, a mayor of Balıkesir, Yücel Yılmaz. So he will make also some additional remarks. So it is my pleasure to open this briefing, and I give the floor to Madam Executive Director Maymuna Mohsharif to explain and to present the topic of Urban October and World Cities Day. The floor is yours, Executive Director.
Thank you very much, Katerina, Honorable Minister, Excellencies, media representative, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Today we have gathered here to update you about the upcoming World Cities Day 2023, and the theme is that financing a sustainable urban future for all. With nearly 70% of the world population living in cities, the future of humanity is urban. Urbanization presents some of the world's most significant opportunities, at the same time also challenges. Cities are centers of economic growth and development. However, they also face demographic, environmental, economic, and social challenges. Every October, UN Habitat, the United Nations Agency for Cities and Human Settlement, and its partner organize a month of activities, events, and discussion on urban topic. We have 31 days to promote a better urban future. Last year, we held more than 400 events around the world. Urban October begins with the World Habitat Day on first Monday of the month every year and ends on 31st October with World Cities Day. This year, we will celebrate the World Habitat Day on 2nd October in Baku, Azerbaijan, and we will start the conversation about cities and their role in addressing the current existential threats, climate, conflict, and lack of capital. The World Cities Day on 31st October will bring this campaign to a close by offering specific action and tools for national decision makers, city leaders, and businesses. We will celebrate World Cities Day in the municipality of Üsküdar in Istanbul, and the conversation will be about financing sustainable urban development. It is critical to have it now as we have approached the halftime of 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Multiple crises and global economic challenges have slowed us down. In some areas, we see regressions. In July, during the high-level political forum, I presented our report on sustainable development.
On the roads.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on STARR Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature.
I've changed and everything, and there wasn't any relationship that I went into that was forced. I forced myself on the individuals, but they were all consensual. But I don't know. What do you think about all that? I would want you to do, because it makes those who have actually been raped, okay? So, but it makes them now a bit cagey. They think that, oh, are people going to take it the same way and not take it serious? That it's one of those ones that maybe we don't have enough evidence now to charge the person and blah, blah, blah. Is that how the police are going to take it? I'm going to tell you more about that. Number of English schools which RACs rises to 174. The government says 27 more educational settings in England are affected by crumbling concrete. Human remains were found at daughter's home. Virginia McLeod is accused of killing her parents at some point since August 2018. How come? Okay, and double doctor strikes. What you need to know. I'm going to tell you more, but up to 60 officers a month could face sack in Met crackdown. More than 1,000 Met police officers are currently suspended or on restricted duties, the force has said. UNESCO says Stonehenge Tunnel plan must be changed. The organization wants the A303 scheme to be amended before a World Heritage Committee meeting. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning. A court clash over move to block gender reform. The Scottish legislation was blocked by UK ministers, and now that decision is being challenged in the courts. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning, and I'm going to be bringing you more from or details of it once we go on. But for now, let's enjoy this music whilst we wait for Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI to join in. It's writing all the names of talkatives, those who are not actually there for you. They're just trying to support you, malign, marginalize. Use all the synonyms that you can use. Okay? All right then. So let's enjoy this music and I'll be with you. It's from Kofi Boham.
My favorite song on this album, y'all. It's no secret in our world. People like to talk the things they know and the ones they don't. They will spread lies and rumors just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts. Cause people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet. And tell them, say, I'm writing names of talkatives. Yeah. writing names of talkers.
I'm writing names of talkers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All of this noise you're making on me.
Teacher, let the when you come.
Teacher will get you when he comes.
This is STARR Radio UK.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice. So don't hear something and pick a knife. Cause most of these things are nothing but lies. Teach us how we hear. Silence the voices in your head and give your attention to your fears. I'm writing.
Okay, writing names of talkatives. From Kofi Boham.
All of this noise you're making on
And it's all coming your way from STARR Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
me comes.
The time now, 4 minutes past the top of the hour.
No time to wait.
No time to waste.
I'll write the names of talkers.
I'm writing names of talkers.
1, 2,
I hope you enjoy that.
5,
And
6.
getting away from anyone who's not giving you the progress or anyone who is just trying to hold you down. That, in the nutshell, is the meaning of that song.
He comes.
But it's my singular honor to welcome once again my brother, Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI. But Yomi, I can't see you. I can't see you.
Call him, says,
Talkative.
do you know any?
Talkative.
Have you met any?
Talkative.
Can we write some?
Talkative.
List some names of talkatives.
Okay, yeah, now.
Yeah. Some friends are,
Talkative.
some family members,
Talkative.
some landlords.
Well, so as I've said,
I said, your ex.
those who you think that they are all talkative, just talking, critiquing you, and not doing constructive criticism, and you want to avoid them, do so, because if you are convicted in your heart that what you are doing is good, why don't you get on with it?
Talkative.
Social
But
media.
as I said earlier on, now I can see my brother and colleague and co-presenter, Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI, who is in our North London studios after a very lovely weekend, and he's chilling out. No, he wasn't chilling out. Yesterday he was on duty elsewhere. Yomi, let me say good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning back to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning to our listeners and viewers from around the globe, and welcome once again to the 1909 2023, 6 minutes past the hour, and it's good to be back again with you, Mr. Archie, after the weekend break off.
Yes. How are you doing? How is the family?
Well, we give thanks. Like I always say, the family are doing very well, and it's good to see that we're doing our best to keep the family going, which is not just our immediate family, but the most important, the family from different part of the globe, which we are also serving with the kind of work that we do on a daily basis.
Okay, listeners, it is STARR Radio UK, Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria as part of the morning show. It comes your way every weekday from 10:30 exactly. So now let's crack on. Now, when it comes to some of the stories that is making the rounds, the veteran producer, and that's pertaining to the death of Mopad. Why I'm touching on that, he's somebody who was making it big time, and then he's dead. Now, can you tell us a bit about what brought about his death? Is it that he committed suicide? What have been information that is coming from what the causes of the death? It has a post-mortem been done as well. What has exactly gone on there, Yomi?
Mobad is a Nigerian artist that died just about a week ago now. His death have literally generated so much, controversy, allegations, and name it. But we have to go by from what the Nigerian authority are saying, not what the social media is actually saying. The first thing is Mohbad death might now be something that will be a legacy when it comes to either bully, when it comes to record label, when it comes to music, when it comes to so many things. It seems right now, as I speak to you, the Nigerian police in Lagos State, the CP, have now confirmed that even though he has been buried, which again, a lot of Nigerians are very, very skeptical to the rush of his burial, when there's a lot of things that were happening just immediately after his death was announced. But police to exhume the body for investigation, that is the latest coming up as we speak to you right now. The Lagos State Police Commissioner, Mr. Idowu Owomuwa, yesterday, the 18th of September 2023, have now put together a 13-man special investigation team to do what? To unravel the question that you've just asked, the circumstances surrounding the death of the Nigerian singer and Naira Marley's former protege, Ireoluwa Aloba, which is the full name, popularly called Mohbad. A lot of you might probably, our listeners, probably might know Naira Marley. Naira Marley was based here in UK, and we've been able to confirm that, based on the information that he has actually said and the ones outside, has a lot of issues here in the United Kingdom with the UK authority. It was a Nigerian as well, living in UK, but as so many that were living in Peckham area, out about 124 arrests. Mohbad was one of his artists until things fall apart. Sometime last year, Mohbad decided to set up his own label record, and like I said, things started falling apart quickly. But like I said, as we speak right now, the question first is, why is it taking the Nigerian authority, this long, to get involved? Because we're not talking about just an ordinary Nigerians. Even the ordinary Nigerians have the right, when death occurred, to be investigated. And the question again is, as a lot of us have said, Nigeria has so much, to deal with, and maybe it's just too big to deal with some of those crises. But as I speak to you right now, there is now a 13-man special investigation team that has been set up. Even someone that is a diaspora, friend, I'm talking about, the diaspora commissioner, Abike Erelu Erewa Dabiri, a Nigerian politician, a former member of the Nigerian Federal House of Representatives. In that particular constituency that Mohbad died, I've just only released a message. You wonder whether she's no longer living in this planet, especially for a constituency that matters to her, where Mohbad came out from. She has just left a message on an IG. The video, as I speak to you right now, from what we are hearing, is on his way back to Nigeria to be part of the night vigil for Mohbad. Lot of messages coming out on the social media, but the one we stick to this morning is that Mohbad now body will be exhumed for further investigation. STARR Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. There's also a link to cultism. It was a bloody weekend in Shagamu. Mr. ARCHIE, I've seen those videos. 25 innocent Nigerians were killed in Ogun State, southwest of Nigeria, and that is linking to cultism as well. Like I said, 3 of them are secondary school students, and most of them are linked as well to music, drugs, sex, and so many things as well. The question is, where is Nigeria heading to? But it seems that Nigeria is heading somewhere, because the president is currently in New York for the United Nations General Assembly. STARR Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Well, listen, it's quite a worrying stories development coming from Nigeria. But let's come to the Mohbad situation again. Now, did they say the cause of death, and why did they rush to bury him? Is he a Muslim?
Well, he's not a Muslim, and this is where the authority wants to now exhume the body, you think that should be the first thing to do in a normal civilized society. But like I said, Nigeria is not that country that anything goes. I mean, somebody has been buried. Now we have to pull the body out again and then go through the normal procedure that should have gone through. Who actually gave the death certificate? Lagos State is not ordinary state. Death certificate is issued when authority have concluded, on their investigation. But it seems that we like to do the other things the other way around. Even the Lagos State government, I've not really said much, but like I said, after the pressure on the social media, which is the only media that Nigerians are using, the authority have now set up a 13-man team. While speaking at the inauguration of the Special Investigation Team, the CP said his members will be domiciled at the homicide section of the State Criminal Investigation Department, also adding that the team was divided into 4 sub-teams to take care of the specific area such as forensic, technical, medical, practical investigation. At least this is never too late, but these will not happen in UK where somebody died and you end up burying that person without thorough investigation. But now that this investigation is going to come up, we will have to give them some days and weeks for them to come out with their report. And I hope by the time the report comes out, it will not just be the same report like the NSAS that end up somewhere under the desk of the government and nothing happen as well. Because we know it is good that they spend money. It's also a kind of a way to create funding, and their funding, and then the investigation, and then the inquiries, but nothing happened after that. We hope this time around something would happen to the singer that died with so much mysterious information coming out. I've seen different videos of beating, bullying. He even accused the Nigerian NDLA of giving him something to drink out of everyone that was captured during an invasion sometime about 2 years ago. He was the only one that was allowed to drink substance from that liquid. The question is, NDLA have denied that, but he's dead. We can only go by the recording that he did before he died.
Wow. May his soul rest in peace, because even now I know that he's not going to be resting because they have to go and exhume him and do all that stuff. But the public will want to know. They have to know. It's the right of the public to know exactly what is happening to Mohbad. But as some are calling, it could be anybody close to us tomorrow. But we don't want that. So if there is death, they need to find out exactly what the causes of death were before. The person didn't die in hospital, or wasn't ill for a long time, and then the person passed on. We need to find out why the person died. Okay, listen to STARR Radio, okay? Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI in North London Studios.
Maybe we should just listen to just one track. This was 4 months ago, and this one says, "Ask About Me," and this is a singer that was well loved. He's been in UK before, but again, he has now passed on, and we can only pray for the 4-month-old baby and the wife and the family as well. This is Mohbad 4 months ago. Well, it says what flies up there is the bird, and there's a human being that walks on the ground, and it seems that the bird of him now is flying up there. But we hope that thorough investigation will be done so that this young man can have a sleep while we continue with the world that we are still living in. Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I come back now to you in the studio for all other news coming out of Nigeria today.
Yes, at 18 minutes past 11 the time, and the morning show updates from Nigeria with Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI now North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. So let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds. Now, Tinubu and Ramaphosa meet on Nigeria-South Africa Economic Regional Cooperation. I know that Nigeria and South Africa have been having that cooperation for a very long time, because we have some of the mobile networks that are from South Africa that has been established there. But there have been times where is it the migrant crisis in South Africa, where the South Africans hate Nigerians, and there are at times, because they think that, well, they've not got them themselves in a position where maybe they are the ones controlling the stakes in South Africa, and have challenged them. Is it going to be bringing all those things on board, so that if we are doing business, there's a peaceful coexistence as Africans? We're supposed to have been able to be moving around our neighborhood, because we are all one. I remember back in the day when South Africa was under the apartheid system, we had Nigeria, we had Ghana, we had all those countries helping, pushing for the agenda. And people were, I remember because where I lived in Accra, they have the NAFTI, National Film and Television Institute, hostel in our area, and there were lots of South Africans who were given scholarships to come and study there. And I know that Nigeria too had lots of it like that. So I don't know what it's going to be talking about, but is it just economic or business lines? And what about the welfare of Nigerians who are in South Africa and vice versa as well? Yomi.
Well, this is going to be almost the second outing of President Bola Tinubu officially to the global world. The G20 took place in India some few weeks back. We saw a lot of engagement, the side meetings and all that. The president couldn't attend the BRICS. The vice president was sent. So it's another opportunity as the world leaders all gathered at New York for the United Nations General Assembly. The most important thing that the President Bola Tinubu is expecting, that Nigerians and South Africans can work together, is going to be a stronger economic ties with South Africa, 6 reforms of the Bretton Woods Institution. Tinubu advanced this strong economic tie. What we have been told, that the President Bola Tinubu yesterday, Monday, advanced his economic development diplomatic drive for investment attraction as he engaged extensively in this bilateral discussion with South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa. What you've got to remember is, yes, we have a lot of Nigerians that are living in South Africa, but it seems that every now and then there is this issue between these two, citizens for whatever reason. So we hope that, the president will be able to address, the issues concerning Nigerians that are living in South Africa, just as we also say that those Nigerians that are living there must abide by the rules and regulations of their host country. Also in the meeting with his South Africa counterpart, President Tinubu asserted that the Africa must have a consensus view that hundreds of billions of dollars spent through international development finance institutions over the years must meet the specific needs of developing democracies in Africa, even if it's done with exclusive regard for their own enlightened self-interest. So, like I said, all this is happening right now as, I believe the president speaks, as the 5th African president later on at the UN General Assembly, and I'll be giving you everything we need to know tomorrow, when also the Yorubas will be coming out in New York. But the most important thing on Niger Voices, we'll have more time to discuss everything at the first outing and compare that maybe later on next week with Buhari's first appearance as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at the United Nations General Assembly. 22 minutes past. I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, I was going to ask about the various demonstrations that were supposed to be taking place during his visit to the UN, but we can look at that and ask yourself that the first outing of the former president, Buhari, and comparing it to what Tinubu has done so far. How do Nigerians see it? And is that demonstration and all those things? Now you said that it's going to be happening maybe sometime tomorrow. How is it all happening? I mean, comparing it to what is happening now, Buhari versus Tinubu, how do you see it?
I think there's a lot that we can review back. Let me take you through I will have to study the address of Bola Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at the United Nations General Assembly. But let me bring up to you what we know of the first address on the 28th of September 2015 by Muhammadu Buhari, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at the 70th section of the United Nations General Assembly. And it goes like this. I'd like to, Mr. President, on behalf of the government and the people of Nigeria, to congratulate you and also your country on the election to preside over the 70th session of the United Nations General Assembly. He also went to say he would express the expression by the predecessor, Mr. Sam Kamba, and the Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. What we had for President was 55 years ago, almost today, my great predecessor, Nigeria first Prime Minister, Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, stood on this forum to declare Nigerians' desire to develop and maintain friendly relations with all countries. He also assured that the world of our country's commitment to uphold what we call the principles upon which the United Nations was founded. And whether Buhari was able to uphold that, because we know he kidnapped and renditioned in Nnamdi Kanu, he almost killed Igboho, he almost also destroyed the economy, but whether Nigerians will remember the Buhari of United Nations General Assembly presenting Nigeria as a country that Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa stood at the forum. But I'm sure many Nigerians will also be questioning the legitimacy of that government, because the election itself was rigged, in 1959. Buhari went further to say that Nigeria has contributed. We know that Nigeria has contributed so much when it comes to peacekeeping of the United Nations effort in Ethiopia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Darfur. But Buhari, the president of Nigeria as at the time, left Nigeria tattered, that even as at yesterday in Castina, we are now having a terrorist meeting with the Nigerian military. I'll be telling you more about that. So Tinubu address is important, and I'll be comparing the note of what Tinubu is going to be saying. We now have 7 years to the SDG goals. Buhari never achieved much in the SDG goals, but remember that he talked about the SDG goal. We are gratified to note that the most countries have pledged commitment to the post-2015 development agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. With their means of implementation, the successor frameworks of the MDGs have come. Mr. President, with lofty aspiration, and if I may say so, the target development cooperation by the international community up to 2020 and the desired universal support. We know that Tinubu has just 7 years. Well, the first 4 years, probably if you get the second year, to get into the SDG goal that is meant to happen by 2031. So there's a lot on the table. The first address of Bola Tinubu at the UN Assembly is going to make a lot of difference compared to Buhari.
But do you think that he's going to be having hostile demonstrations? Because you take a typical example of Buhari, because of his previous, where he was a military dictator before, and then he came metamorphosed into a civilian to run for a presidency and won. So there were lots of people who had something against him. But with Tinubu, he's not, let me put it this way, he's not done. I mean, he's been during the time that he was governor of Lagos State. Lagos State said that, well, they saw lots of development there. So, do you think that he's going to have a hostile demonstration as Buhari did have, the way he had to go and now hire or pay some people to come and demonstrate and organize a counter demonstration against those who were there? Do you think he's going to have anything like that?
I don't see that happening, but you never know what is being planned behind, because the new government wants to be seen as a government that every Nigerian prefer, even though we know that the election has not gone as many Nigerians expected it. So that itself is going to generate negativity, publicity for the president. We also know that the NLC at home are still talking about, it might be maybe the president will be coming back as he's facing the protest and the rally at the UN General Assembly. He might be returning back in Nigeria with an indefinite strike because, agreement has not been served yet. But the most important thing, going back to, part of what Buhari said, as they relinquished to these, and as we look at the history, dignity, prosperity, justice, partnership, planet, and the people, Buhari talked about fighting the Boko Haram. Tinubu is talking about fixing the economy and bringing the Boko Haram to book as well. But the question is, will he be able to bring in opposition to counter those that are coming out? Because we know that the Yoruba first protest is going to be happening later on today. The New York Times, as you can see there from the poster, we know that the Peter Obi obedient movement are also coming out. And even those within the political party of the APC, we've been hearing that some of them are saying that we might arrest people in New York. I don't know how that is going to happen. But like I said, it seems that a lot is going to be thrown out there. But we have to wait and see whether there might be some that might be doing the counter protest against the president at the United Nations General Assembly coming up in the next few days.
Well, listen to Star Radio UK. Let's see what happens from there. Comforter Lugunja says, investigation for where? I bet that is pertaining to Mohbad's death. And he says, the normal way to shop money. It's just a normal way to shop money. Nigeria never happened to us. So, amen. Nigeria never happened to any of us here on this platform. All right, then, listen to Star Radio UK. Mr. OLAYOMI KOIKI in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Now, let's hop on straight to what you were talking about before I let you up, and then you can bring all the other story. The NLC deadlock. But yesterday we had information coming through that the government was planning to have a meeting with the NLC. I did say that they are looking at the palliative and looking at everything that government has put in place in replacement for the fuel subsidy thing. And I think that it doesn't go far enough. So now it looks like there's a stalemate. So what is happening there, Yomi?
Well, the president is out of the country. The vice president is at home. We will have to see what is going to happen. Last week, the NLC ultimatum is meant to expire this week. Anytime from now, we should start seeing, messages from them or communicate. But what we can tell you as of today, the federal government, the Nigeria Labour Congress meeting deadlocked. Workers insist on demands in a race to beat the deadline for the planned commencement of this time around indefinite strike that may lead to the shutdown of the economy. Remember, the economy itself is struggling, and that is why the president wants to advance a proper economic relationship with South Africa and other countries, from India and so many other countries that will be attending the United Nations General Assembly this week. But the parley hosted by the Minister of Labour, Simon Lalong, in Abuja, however, has now failed to reach a consensus. The Nigerian Labour Congress insisted that the federal government must meet its demand ahead of a 21-day ultimatum that was issued on the 1st of September by the Congress. The union had at 1st of September ended a 21-day ultimatum, which is going to expire looking at it in the next 48 hours. In advancing of its demand, the NLC has now mobilized workers for a 2-day warning strike that took place last week between the 5th and the 6th. But it seems that maybe that did not deter the government. It seems now that indefinite strike might be coming up, but there's still more room for negotiation. So we'll have to wait and see how the Labour minister is going to work. The previous minister under Buhari, Ngige, was as useless as any other minister anyway, because he wasn't doing what he's meant to do. Let's hope Lalong will stop this. But the question is, do Nigeria have what it takes, to pay the right salary, to make sure to cushion the subsidy that has been removed? Time will tell. But it seems Lalong, the former governor himself, has a lot to deal with.
Well, he has a lot to deal with. It's a position that he has accepted. Therefore, we are expecting the best from him. And therefore, we expect that he puts his best foot forward. and then be able to negotiate something. Listen to Star Radio UK. Now, moving on straight to one other story. Femi Gbajabiamila, what is happening? They said the U.S. judiciary have decided to, pull his or withdraw his license of operation there due to him stealing money from a client. That's a big one there. Yomi.
Well, the question with Nigerians, politicians, most of them have committed one kind of crime or the other. Let me give you the background. So he's currently the chief of staff, to President Bola Tinubu. I don't know whether he has traveled with him on this particular trip or he has decided just to ignore going to America, even though we don't know whether he might be arrested. Imagine, the president, chief of staff being arrested in America. That would be the biggest headline. He's a politician, but before you become a politician, you must be doing something. While he was a lawyer in America, in particular, just like when you get into accident in UK, lawyers take care of the matter, and then when you get paid, the lawyer is meant to give you the check. But in the other way around, Femi Gbajabiamila took away, thousands of dollars belonging to a client in America and went back to Nigeria. They become a politician, made money, paid back the money, but it seems that the U.S. has not forgotten Femi Gbajabiamila. So the United States legal panel I don't think he might want to do any other legal work in America because he's doing very well in Nigeria. He's been a senator. He's also been, the leader of the House of Reps in Nigeria until Bola Tinubu emerged as the president. And Femi Gbajabiamila now has lost his law license after stealing money from the client, violating the bar rules. The former House Speaker, who now serves as the President Bola Tinubu chief of staff, was, a prodigious body effective from the 1st of July 2020, according to the information. What we can confirm now that the Nigerian politicians who currently serve as the chief of staff, Mr. Gbajabiamila, disgraced the U.S. underscores yet again the gulf between the civilization, the outfare, and the available instruments. So it's all about the money that was paid to a client for the service that he was rendering to that client. He decided to say, let me just take this money and go and do politics in Nigeria. And the politics went on his way, and he has now paid the money back after making so much out of Nigerian politics.
Well, maybe he added some interest on it for the person as well. And, maybe he didn't remember that he has got that money that he needed to pay to the clients. Playing the devil's advocate, right? Well, listen.
He can no longer practice law in the state of Georgia.
He wouldn't want to go and practice. He's made the money. Which of the lawyers in America has had money like what he has now? Wow. Yeah. Well, listeners, it is all coming your way from STARR Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:36 the time. We'll go to Yomi.
Take 30 seconds of Mr. Archie.
Okay. Listeners, just bear with us. Yes, Yomi will be with us. Well, as we're saying, we're going to be looking at some of the other stories. They're talking about Peter Obi, and Peter Obi won on social media but lost presidential poll. The question is, now, what the support on social media translated into real votes? Or, as we saw, all the scrupulous things that were happening during the voting or the elections, is that what actually, so let's say all the people that his followers on the social media translated into real votes. However, there was that, let me put it that way, manipulation that ended up changing the scores there. Is that what happened? But we'll be telling you more about all that wherever you are. It is STARR Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And what do you think about all that is happening in Nigeria? Tinubu surprised us with SGFCDS appointment, says Northern Christians. And then the NLC Union demands concrete solution to palliatives, wages, awards. And those are the demands of the NLC. And Tinubu advances stronger economic ties with South Africa, as we did say 6 reforms of Bretton Woods institutions. So what is this again? The reforms that is talking about there. We're bringing you more about all those ones as the days and the hours and the hours and the days and the weeks and the months unfold. But listeners, it is STARR Radio UK, the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Let's go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, quite a lot of work ahead in the Nigerian revenue crisis. There is a huge public debt. We've been talking about this for some time now, and the government is looking for many ways to cushion, the debt that Nigeria is currently facing. But the new FIRS, is now saying also the same thing that many of us have been worried about when it comes to, the staggering debt that Nigeria is owing today. According to the new boss of the FIRS, says that the federal government is spending 96% of revenue on debt servicing, unsustainable. 8.5 trillion collected by mid of September, according to the immediate past FIRS chair. But what do we know? The new chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, said yesterday, the nation is in a revenue crisis and requires urgent steps to change the narrative. How do we change the narrative for a country that has refused to be productive for the last 24 years of democracy or 63 years of the independence of Nigeria? When you look at Indonesia, when you look at Malaysia, Indonesia is the first exporter of palm oil across the globe, while Malaysia is the second. Nigeria actually helped Malaysia in the 80s. South Korea was far, far behind in 1982, but today it has already surpassed, Nigeria of, when it comes to the GDP between the two countries as well. So what do we need to do? According to, this is even as the former chairman of the revenue agency, NAMI, said the FIRS generated 8.5 trillion in revenue to the Federation account as of the mid-September. But they recall that one of the main reasons the government removed subsidy from petrol is the inadequate revenue to run the affairs of the country. Should we now say that if there's not enough income for the country, the country goes into an economic crisis? Well, already the country is going into that already, because we can tell from so many of Nigerians back home complaining, lamenting, as the dollar, as at yesterday, has gone to 920 in the black market, while the pound sterling is 1,200 as well. Where debt has grown bigger than the GDP, the gross domestic product, and debt servicing faster than revenue, immediate actions have to be taken to remedy the situation. On his own agenda to optimize revenue generation, he says his direction, therefore, will key into the reforms made by President Bola Tinubu, who has been inaugurated, what we call the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. We now also have a new governor, remember Emefiele?
Yeah.
Emefiele. We now have Kadoski. Kadoski will now take over as the CBN governor from Emefiele, with new deputy governors as well. That is coming from the FIRS. Nigeria in a revenue crisis with a huge public debt. Again, Nigerian military has now Nigerian military would like to probe a video of terrorists holding peace meeting with soldiers in Katsina. Well, anything goes in Nigeria. That's what some of us say. But it seems that you never wake up in the morning. There will always be something that will bring, questions. Who facilitated this? How was this happening? If the Nigerian military is now probing a meeting between Nigerian military and terrorists in Katsina inside Nigeria, with the motorbikes of many of these terrorists wielding AK-47, where is the chief of staff? The chief, the main chief of armed staff and the other security agency that are meant to be ahead of the game? Now, investigation is going to take place. According to the information, this was a report that took place on Sunday that the terrorists held a peace parley with residents in Fakama village in Faskari local government area of Katsina, where the former President Muhammadu Buhari hails from. But the defense headquarters, Abuja, the Nigerian Military High Command, has said it has launched an investigation into the video, which was on the social media. This is not a doctored video. The soldiers were literally engaging with the terrorists somewhere in Katsina, and yet the high-ranking Nigerian military are not aware. That literally means that every one of us is in danger if the Nigerian high-ranking military are not aware of such meeting, and this is happening. And in the video conversation that I listened to, it was in either Fulani or Hausa, but those are translated. He was also saying that the other person on the phone line was commanding others not to make any kind of attack because it is going to be their group that are going to be passing through by the time they finish that particular meeting. Once again, this is what happened in Nigeria, but we hope that the military will look into it as quickly as possible. Well, not everything is still being confirmed. It seems that what the senior advocate of Nigeria, Ola Tubora, says that Peter Obi won election on the social media, not literally on the ground. You wonder what is going to be the reaction of Peter Obi. I've not seen that yet, but as much as the election is over, there's still so much conversation going around it as well. Peter Obi was in Bangladesh for a particular small, medium-scale enterprise. But what do we know? In an interview that was granted, a former commissioner for education in Ondo State, Dr. Remi Olatubora, senior advocate of Nigeria, analyzed the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, how it will enrich the nation's jurisprudence. You are aware of the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. This is a question. What are the lessons to be learned by the candidate as Nigeria prepare for future elections? One thing I would say straight away is that whoever as a candidate intend to approach the law court or election tribunal for perceived injustice in the conduct of election or redress of perceived injustice must be prepared very well. The petitioner must be prepared even before the election to look into the possibility of ending up the race in post-election court. That is the election tribunal. That will mean that from the moment you are assigning your polling agent to the various units, you give the necessary training of what to look for and to also take note as well. So it seems that the senior advocate of Nigeria says that Peter Obi won the election on the social media. Let's take one from the more news and then go back again to the social media this morning. Once again, terrorists displaced 7 villages in Kebbi State and Sokoto State. The Kebbi State government yesterday distributed relief materials to the victims of terrorist attack from 7 villages of Sokoto and Kebbi State. According to the news agency of Nigeria, report that the 2 villages were attacked in Kebbi and 5 in Sokoto State as well. The Commissioner for Information and Culture, Alhaji Yakubu Ahmed, said that the affected villages were on the borders of the 2 states. We are in the village on behalf of His Excellency Governor Nasir Idris to distribute relief materials to the displaced victims of terrorist attack. So you can see that the terrorist is still well groomed and operating in Nigeria. We hope the government will continue to provide adequate security, just as, again, you wonder where Ribadu was when there was meeting being held by terrorists in Katsina, and now they have to probe it as well. Now let's go to the social media where Nigerians are looking into Sam Larry. Sam Larry names keeps coming up as one of those that needs to be called into by the Nigerian police to the death of Mohbad. So Sam Larry is actually trending. Information that we gather says that he has actually run to Kenya, where he's hiding presently. We hope that the Kenya authority will also bring him out, just as they gave room for Nnamdi Kanu to be kidnapped and rendition. Sam Larry must return to Nigeria. Naira is also trending, and we know that when Naira is trending, it could link to so many things. It could mean to Naira Mali, which some radio stations have now said. Agidigbo FM has said that we are now going to ban all songs of Naira Mali, what is called the Malian records, on their radio station as well. Again, Hosseini Rufai on social media this morning says in 2013, 2 million Naira was just $14,000. Well, today, the same 2 million naira is just $2,000. That means you've lost $12,000 of your revenue, if you are holding 2 million naira. Well, Comrade Ile Oba says, only mad people emphasize climbing a tree from the top. I don't know how you're going to climb a tree from the top. And Madonna GCR says, and our gods of men keep on prophesying that naira will soon be a par with the dollar. Well, we don't know how soon that is going to happen. CIA at Imo for Chi. The APC members I know still get $14,000 when they exchange it for 2 million. You can tell the banter goes on and on the social media. And on that note, I'm going to come back again to you as Sanwo-Olu, the video is trending. ID Kabasa is trending as well. STARR Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let's just play the final part of Mohbad Asked About Me. Well, it says that, in translation, that he actually cut off the leg of the devil, but it seems that some devil were able to cut up with him. We continue to pray for the family, the father, the 4-month-old baby, and the wife that he left behind. STARR Radio UK, I'll come back now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, a very sad one there. May his soul rest in peace. And may the investigation unveil whatever actually caused or brought about his death. Listen to STARR Radio UK. But, one interesting story that you picked up on, that was the negotiating with terrorists of the military. Now, what do you think? I mean, in the conversation, do we see it as some sort of trying to bring them on board or making sense of what they are doing, that stop what you are doing because we think you are destroying the community and therefore lay down your arms and maybe somehow we can bring you into the community? Is that what was going on? And somebody will say, if that was what was going on and they will listen to them, then what was bad about that? Yomi?
Well, what was bad about it is that the Nigerian IRAK military were not aware.
Okay.
So the intelligence was not aware, the NSA, the Nigeria. So that means that it's also, if the initiative was good in the first place, that should be coming from that end, especially the Nigerians. Imagine, the MI5 having not aware that there's a security meeting going on between terrorists, in UK. And you can tell that as much as we want peace to reign in Nigeria through security, the question is, can you really confirm that these individuals are ready to surrender? What are they really fighting for? Are they fighting for the territory? Are they fighting for something? It's definitely something that they are asking for. And whatever they are asking for, can the government of Nigeria give it to them peacefully so that the peace will reign amongst Nigeria? We talked about, the villages attacked in Kebbi and Sokoto. Do you know that the Nigerian youth couples that were kidnapped on the 17th of August paid 13 million? They are still in the captivity of the terrorists as we speak to you right now. Both the driver and 9 of them, they've completed their university, but they do attend what they call the NYSC, which is like a program that you have to do as a Nigerian student, as a Nigerian, serving the country. They were not from that part of the region, but they were posted to a region now that have been so terrorized that even the foreign affairs this morning that I was checking, the FCO has continued to advise traveling to the northern part of Nigeria is no-go area. But yet, Nigerians are still told to travel from another state to attend NYSC. They've been kidnapped. The government has kept quiet. The security is not doing it as much. The question is, what are they really asking when it comes to peace of these terrorists?
Interesting. I know that Yomi has to go, but a quick one there. Now, so what are the, should I call them, NYSC the students who are embarking on that. What have been their stance after a group of them were kidnapped? What have they said? I mean, because if we see that you post that, if you are in Lagos State, we know our area, this is where we are, or Ogun State, we know our area, so we know so post it to our own place. But if you are going to post it to other parts of the country where we know terrorists are just going about just kidnapping and doing all sorts, then if you post me there, I'll tell you face blankly that I'm not going nowhere. Are they bold enough to say that to them?
Well, that's a question. They are not bold enough, but a lot of questions have been raised, not with this particular government, even with the previous government, whether to scrap, the whole NYSC or rework out as many of states that are still a little bit safe than sending someone to a state that is not safe, like Sokoto, Katsina, Bauchi, Zamfara, just because you're going to serve what was put together in 1973 by the same military that cannot protect Nigeria today. Because the NYSC, was established in 1973 by the same military. The National Youth Service Corps is a program set up by the Nigerian government during the military regime to involve Nigerian graduates in nation building and development of the country. Is this still viable in 21st century when Nigerians are kidnapped just because they want to serve, in nation building, and yet the nation cannot protect them as well? Like I said, they've been kidnapped since August. 13 million have been paid. That's close to almost, huge amount of money there. Close to almost, with the exchange rate, you're talking about almost, thousands of pounds. But yet they've not been released. So can we say that the NYSC needs to be scrapped? This question must continue to be asked.
Yeah, now to be asked, but somebody is asking the question. We know that Boko Haram was for the Islamization of Nigeria. Now, what are the other groupings there for? What are they fighting for? Why are they embarking on that?
Well, it's all about the land grabbing. It's all about, identity and culture to be changed. Yes, evidence is out there. We've had, so much from the late Dr. Malafi Obadia. So many security reports in Nigeria continue to say that, those that have been left, to come through the Sahel, we've seen killings, in the Chad area, the Mali, up to the Niger. But it seems that Nigeria is just like a base for them. And we hope that the government would do everything possibly well to safeguard Nigerians. Okay,
listeners, if we have to go on, we will not stop it because as we ask the questions, more questions do come in. But to every one of you,